We are live. This is Nancy Juetten, and today is Monday, and it is time for another amazing Learn More to Earn More show. And today is going to knock your socks off. What's the topic? We're talking about LinkedIn. And why does this matter? Give me a show of hands if you want to have more quality and qualified leads who have the income, inclination, and desire to invest into what it is that you are bringing to market. Let me see some amens in the chat. Let me see some hands in the chat. And let's get this party started because this is going to be an amazing conversation. We have someone with us today who has created a seven-figure business as a result of his finesse with LinkedIn. More to the point, he has guided many, many others to create seven-figure businesses by following his ninja strategies. And if that doesn't intoxicate you further, I don't even know what else you're doing, but I want you to stop whatever you're doing and give me your full attention because Scott Aaron is in the house. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hey, Nancy, thank you so much again for having me and grateful to be here today.
I'm so happy to have you. Before we get into these ninja strategies and all this other important stuff that we're going to want to embrace, I'm pretty sure people are going to want to know, how did you discover your talent for LinkedIn and what has happened for you since over what period of time?
Yeah, LinkedIn kind of stumbled into my lap, so to speak, when I was getting out of the daily grind of being a health club owner and personal trainer and nutritionist and growing a brick and mortar, but more so an in-person, face-to-face consultancy type business. I was looking for a means and a way to branch out, to broaden my horizons, to expand my reach. And I did the normal thing that most people do when they're kind of branching out online is they go to Facebook and they go to Instagram. That's basically what you did. And it's a good place to get started. I call it the kiddie pool. That's where you go before you're ready to really dive off the high dive. And it taught me a lot about how to really market yourself on social media. But it also taught me who I do not want to work with. And for me, it's all about the quality people that lead to the quantity of people. I've always been a big believer in that. So I was reading an article about 8 years ago, almost 8 years ago, that was going over the different demographics of social media, namely Facebook, Instagram versus LinkedIn. And when I looked at these three statistics, it really just shifted everything for me. The average age of people on Facebook and Instagram is 18 to 29 with a yearly income of $30,000 a year or less. And you're only allowed 5,000 friends. And I put that in air quotes because no one has 5,000 friends. I don't care how popular you are. These are acquaintances or people that we know of someone else. And Instagram, yes, you can have a ton of followers. But Instagram, by percentage-wise, has the highest percentage of fake accounts to real accounts on all of social media. Now, when you look comparatively to LinkedIn, where the average age is 30 to 55 and where the average income is $75,000 to $100,000 a year or more. And when you are allowed to have 30,000 organic connections, that was the only three ingredients to that recipe that I needed to read to say, you know what, I need to dig into this a little bit. Now, the other thing that I was really starting to look at is my calendar, and namely the lack of appointments that were in my calendar. And Eric Worre, who some people may know, he says the scariest place for any entrepreneur to be is when they look at their appointment book and nothing is written down. So I didn't want that to happen to me. And I said, well, where can I go where I can create more connection? I can create more appointments. I can create more business relationships of people that actually value what it is that I do and how I help people. And that's when LinkedIn kind of fell into my lap. And it's something that I figured out on my own. I'm self-taught, just like everything I've basically done in my life. And I was looking for a way to build a better network. I was looking to create more connection. I was looking to create more income in my business. And that's exactly what I did with LinkedIn. I systematized it, patented it, trademarked it, copyrighted it, and now teach other people how to do the same thing.
Well, bravo. And what powerful statistics those are. So sometimes we just play around in the kiddie pool for an overstayed welcome when there's another platform where we can participate can be so much more fruitful.
Yes.
So I'm so glad you brought that to our attention. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we had the opportunity and the privilege to interview Vivica von Rosen, also about LinkedIn. And a great deal of the content that we talked about was how to get your profile dialed in so people know who you are and what you do and who you do it for. And she had some wonderful ninja strategies, and she was incredibly generous. And as you and I were getting ready for today's conversation, I was thinking to myself, how will this be a much different conversation? And your answer to that was really powerful. So I'd like you to share a little bit more about how the profile gets you so far, but what will take you the rest of the way.
Yeah, a profile is great. It's like the cover of a menu. The cover of the menu may look great, but if there's nothing on the inside, how are you going to get people to stay and eat at your restaurant? So it is very, very important to have the customer value journey. And I don't know if Vivica talked about this, but there needs to be a fluidity to your profile where you are taking someone on a journey. And that journey begins not with your profile picture. That journey begins with your LinkedIn cover story, because you can, like Facebook, you can now upload a 30-second video of yourself on LinkedIn introducing yourself to the person that's visiting your profile. And you can change it whenever you want. So we have an intensive coming up right now. You guys can see the link scrolling at the bottom. So my cover story usually goes on with something that I have going on. So, hey, this is Scott Aaron. Thanks for checking out my profile. If you check out the featured content section below, there's a link to register for our free LinkedIn intensive. Would love to see you register. And thanks again for checking out my profile. If you'd like to learn how to leverage LinkedIn, send me a connection request, send me a message, and look forward to connecting. Have a great day. So the person is seeing you and hearing you. Now, the other thing I love about your profile is the name pronunciation. And a lot of people use it just for that, pronouncing their name. You don't want to use it for that. It's actually a 10-second audio clip where you can talk about what you do. So my name pronunciation says, hey, this is Scott Aaron. If you'd like to learn how to leverage LinkedIn to build your business brand and your bank account, send me a connection, send me a message, and thanks for checking out my profile. So now it adds as a secondary layer. So remember, you're taking people on this journey on your profile. And there's two other things that I'm not going to go over experience section. I'm sure Vivica went over that, but I'm going to talk about two other important sections. Number one is creator mode. And a lot of people don't know about creator mode. What I love about it is it's very easy to set up. All you have to do is click a button and turn it on, but it does two things. Number one, it actually changes the connect button to the follow button. And why that's important for two reasons. Number one, people can then follow you instead of connect with you, because people are getting over inundated with these auto connection requests from marketing companies and software and all these drunk log notes that are added to it. Here's what I do. I can help you. Do you want more clients? Book a call. So it actually beats the system. So the way that these softwares work, just to kind of reverse engineer this for you guys, I know this is kind of high level, but I'm going to go there anyway. How these softwares work that people install onto their LinkedIn profile, it scrapes ideal connections. Now, the only way that that software can connect with a profile is if the connect button is visible. If you change it to creator mode, it turns the connect off and turns the follow button on. So they can't send you a connection request. So you get less spammers actually connecting with you. Now, you may be thinking, well, Scott, can people still connect with me? Yes, but they have to do it by hand. And there's a more button on the profile, and all the person has to do is click more, and there's a drop-down menu that says connect, and they just click the connect button and they can send you a connection request. So it's a way for us to beat all of that automated software that people are using to spray and pray with all of their connections on LinkedIn. Now, the second thing I love about creator mode is that it allows you to put hashtags. It allows you to put hashtags underneath your name banner of what you talk about. So again, let's go back to what we spoke about early, creating the customer value journey. So when someone visits your profile, they hear the name pronunciation of what you do. They see that little LinkedIn video of who you are, what you do, how you do it, and why you do it. Now, there are these 5 talking points of what it is that you talk about. So mine says LinkedIn business, lead generation, increased income, business visibility, LinkedIn strategy. So now when someone is visiting my profile, there's no question what it is that I do. They're seeing it right there with what I talk about within my content. Now, the last piece of your profile that not a lot of people end up taking advantage of is the featured content section. Now, this you have to add. So it doesn't appear automatically. You actually have to add this featured content section. But here's why I love it so much. And I get the chills just thinking about it because I showed my wife this the other day, and she was like blown away that LinkedIn has this capability. So if you go to your LinkedIn profile and click add profile section, you'll see it'll say headline, the about, and then it'll say featured content. Now, if you click on featured content, it'll allow you to add things to a little banner area where people can see what it is that you do. So you can add your most recent article. You can add a post. You can add a website, a resource link. But here's the beauty of this. So LinkedIn used to allow you, back in the day, you used to be able to download all of your contacts and their email addresses to import them into a CRM. You can't do that anymore. It's against policies and procedures. But listen to this. In that featured content section, you can put in your Calendly link or your Acuity link or your website where there's an opt-in or your podcast link. So literally you can take people from your profile wherever it is you want them to go. So for me, if you go to my featured content section, the first thing that you're going to see is the registration page for our free 5-day LinkedIn intensive. So now I can get registrations by people just visiting my profile. They can click on it, takes them right to the landing page. They type everything in, boom, done. Now,
okay, so I just want to say to Paulette and to Tara and to all the people and Kate, are you like thinking, oh my God, so many value bombs in the first 15 minutes? Are you so super excited that you are here? OMG. This thing you just shared about featured content, being able to future cast what that next thing is that you want people to do, that's a game changer for people, especially if they're trying to get more people to participate in their challenge, their whatever it is, right?
Anything.
Oh my gosh, so good. Kate, so glad you're here. So, all right, keep going. I just had to like acknowledge the people that are here and seeing the wonderful comments that they're sharing.
Yeah, I see it. So thank you, Paulette, Kate, Tara, everyone that's commenting in. And again, you can ask your questions as obviously we go through this. So
they really love you.
Well, I love you
totally
guys.
With
so
multiple exclamation points.
Feeling is mutual. So again, the profile gets you started, but this is what Nancy and I were talking about offline. Profile is great, but I call there's a layer cake of LinkedIn. So if you can think of a layer cake, there's the big base at the bottom, and then there's multiple layers on top. Now, the base of what you need to do, obviously, is what we just discussed, is optimizing your profile. Now, and again, anyone that goes to my website, scottaaron.net, there actually is a free download on there that goes over the beginning phases of optimizing your profile. So anyone can go there as well. But we need to talk
Now, you
about
said
these.
that very fast, and I'm going to ask Paulette to type it in. What was that URL that you just shared?
It's my first and last name.net. So it's www.scottaaron, SCOTTAARON.net. And as soon as you go there, there'll be a pop-up. It'll say, get your free infograph, and it'll be right there for you.
Awesome.
Now, the second layer to that is the build of your network. So now that you have your profile optimized, you have to build that quality network that leads to the quantity network. Now, there's two connection buckets that you need to place people into. So you're not going to spray and pray and connect with anyone and everyone. That's a way to really get blocked off of LinkedIn. So you need to be super hyper focused. So for me personally, you have to fit two criteria. If you're going to connect with me, or I'm going to connect with you, you have to fit into the ideal client bucket. So can this person benefit from my product, my good, my service, or my offering? If they don't, they're not worthy of having them as a connection, because again, we do get 30,000, but you want every single one of those connections being valuable. Now, and that's right, I think. That wrong? Yep. No, Paulette, that's perfect. ScottAaron.net. You got it. Now, the other bucket, the second bucket, is power partner. And not a lot of people focus on the power partner because, so people think, well, what's a power partner? So here's the example I give. If a personal trainer was your ideal client, that person is going to benefit from your product, your good, your service. Then your power partner is a gym owner, because gym owners employ personal trainers so they can do the introduction. So you have to think about, like, and I have my clients do this all the time, write down on a piece of paper, who are the people that benefit most from what you do? Now, who are those people that you can network with to get to those ideal clients? So you have to be so clear and hyper-focused with who you're building your network around. But the same goes for people that are sending you connections. It's very easy for people to send connections, but you have to think about, okay, is there value in this person and what they do? Can they benefit from me, or how can I serve them, or how can we serve each other? And by looking at what they do, you don't see them fitting into one of those two buckets. Don't connect, don't accept. So build that quality network. The third layer is messaging. Now, I don't care what people do. You don't have to have the fanciest profile. You don't have to build the biggest network. Well, listen, if you aren't messaging people properly, you have 0.00% chance of booking calls on LinkedIn. Now, if anyone has spent any time on LinkedIn or social media for that matter, I think we've all been victimized by someone's 18-paragraph long drunkalog of someone trying to sell us and pitch us and book a call here, go to this website, check this link out, watch this video. You only get one shot at a great first impression, and that is a great way to flush it right down the toilet. Now, if you're going to message someone, I've created a methodology called the perfect message. So it's called the magic formula. And this is it. It's 4 steps. It's 4 steps to the magic formula. Number 1, you message the person that you've become a connection to in a very relaxed manner. So it's not professional. It's not stuffy. It's just as simple as, hey, Nancy, great to be connected to you. That's it. Not dear Nancy, comma, space, indent, next paragraph. Because that mimics the software messages that people are using on the platform. So you want to do whatever you can to humanize everything that you do on LinkedIn, including the messages. The second part of that message is bridging the gap between you and that person of why you're reaching out. So lowering the wall of resistance and raising the level of connection. So if any of this is making sense so far, just hop into the chat box, just type a Y or a yes. Now, if I was connecting with Nancy on LinkedIn, I would say, hey, Nancy, great to be connected to you. I noticed that you are also a business coach and podcast host, as am I. Would love to hear how things are going. Share more about what's going on with me and how we can support each other here on LinkedIn. Now, the third part of that is how I finish that sentence. Support each other here on LinkedIn. So the second thing I did is I created that connecting point between myself and Nancy. So when she's reading that message, she's going to be like, oh, that makes sense. Scott's a podcast host and a business coach. So am I. That's why he wants to connect. But I also used the second most important word in the English language, and that word is support. It's been scientifically proven that when someone reads the word support and says it in their head, it actually triggers their brain to release a chemical called oxytocin. Now, this is our feel-good brain chemical, just like dopamine, serotonin, dopamine, cortisol. So the person is feeling really good as they're reading this message. The fourth and final step, a CTA, a call to action.
Okay, just stop for 1 second. Number 1 was relaxed connection. Number 2 was bridging the gap while you're reaching out. Number 3
is how we support each other.
How can we support each other? Great. Okay, ready.
4 is the CTA, the call to action. Questions lead to answers. Statements lead to nowhere. So you have to.
Okay, Paulette, write that down. Would you say that again? That's a sassy soundbite.
Questions lead to answers. Statements lead to nowhere. So you have to ASK to GET. You have to ask in order to get. So you finish with a question. Do you have any time this week or next week for a call or a Zoom? That's it. You state the person's name, reason for reaching out, how you can support one another, anytime for a call or a Zoom.
Okay, so stop for a moment. Who in the chat today can follow this magic recipe starting today to get some conversation started? I would like to see some amens and yeses in the chat, because you have simplified, Scott, something that has been a mystery to so many people. And I want to see some of those yeses. Ask to get. Love that. Love that. And Nancy, do you have any time this week to Zoom or chat? Yeah. This is particularly relevant. Well, I want to ask you a follow-up question. There's how can we support each other in business, which is great for strategic alliances and joint venture partnerships and podcast guest swaps and things like that. Totally down with that. What if it is your intention or desire to get connect calls or consult calls on the calendar so that you can enroll new clients?
Same thing. You don't change it. Everybody wants to be supported, and whether they're being supported with collaboration or creating something or something that you can provide for them. Because again, when you get them on the phone, all you have to do is find out their pain points. Once you figure out what their pain points are, you build your conversation around their pain with something that you do, which is going to be easier for them to say yes to.
I see. Okay, brilliant.
That's the simplified sales cycle. So everyone asks me, Scott, how do you close so many sales? How do you close so many sales? Well, I find out what the person needs first and then build my program to fill their need. So the mistake that a lot of people make is they don't let the other person talk. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So you have to talk less and listen more. So if you actually hear more about what someone is struggling with, one of the first questions, Nancy, that I ask someone, what is it with your business right now that you are seeking to improve? That's it. And guess what? They've rolled out the red carpet for me. As soon as they tell me what area of their business they're struggling with, guess what I'm going to build my entire conversation around?
How to solve that problem.
Exactly. So when it comes to the solution, which is something I can provide, they're either going to be able to afford it or not at that point. So it's either a yes or a not right now. So you need to take the time to actually figure out and find out what that person is struggling with first, because everybody has a different pain point. And what a lot of people do is they don't listen to the other person. They just talk about what they want to talk about their program and how it helps people. Because my program is multifaceted. So someone may not necessarily need more leads, but they need to know how to create content. So I'm going to build the conversation around content creation. Or
Which
they may
is
not.
such a perfect segue, because I want to talk about that, because in Facebook, and listen, I spend a lot of time on Facebook, there's personal posts. This is what I did on the weekend. There's all the fun posts that you see in the Facebook groups. What are you celebrating? What are your goals? We're all very familiar with those kinds of prompts. How is content creation on LinkedIn different, and how can we be standing out and be distinct and preferred in the way that we do that?
Anything that you post on Facebook and Instagram, don't post it on LinkedIn. Unless it's related to your business, it's not selling or pitching, it's educating and informing. So people are on LinkedIn for two reasons: to network with others and to be educated by others. So if you're going to produce content on LinkedIn, this is the fallacy about LinkedIn. You see a lot of TikTok videos and Instagram reels, and you see a lot of bait posts on LinkedIn now that people are putting out on Facebook and Instagram. Listen, Facebook is a barbecue. That's where people go to hang out, grab a drink, and commiserate. That's what it is. Instagram is the Bravo TV of social media. It's the Real Housewives of social media. Everyone's living their quote unquote best life. And most of the people that you are following are broke. They just look like they're successful because everyone is posting things on Facebook and Instagram to show people this is what success looks like. Now, any successful business owner will be honest with you and tell you that success doesn't look like anything. It's a feeling. It's not in the make or model of a car, the size of your house, the kind of jewelry you have, or labels on your purses. It is a feeling. So what you see on Facebook and Instagram, 85% of it is fake. And here's the funny thing. And, this is one of those things where I know most of the people that I'm connected to on social media, and I know everything that's going on in their personal life. And I can tell you what they're sharing on social media is far from what's going on in their social life. Now, LinkedIn is a global networking event every single time you log on. Nancy and I, my wife that is, we have clients in over 12 different countries around the world now because of LinkedIn. Because we have that global reach, because you can search and connect for people in any country, any city, any state, any province, anywhere in the world. But content is everything. So there are different types of content that you can create on LinkedIn. So the 4 types of content that you can create: posts, videos, articles, and polls. Those are the 4 main types of content that you can create on LinkedIn. I advise to create one of each. Do a video a week, do a post a week, do an article a week, and do a poll a week. Polls are actually my favorite because it's all market research. Every one of my polls is a pain point. I did one the other day. What's your number one struggle right now on LinkedIn? And the choices were optimizing your profile, connecting with the right people, closing more sales, creating content. So now, not only the people are voting, I can actually message them and say, hey, I noticed that you voted on X, Y, and Z. Would you be interested in talking about how I can potentially help you with this? Or invite them to my free event. But it's also giving me a look under the kimono of what people are struggling with, so I can use that market research to create content that fills their need and void of what they're struggling with. Everything I do on LinkedIn, and this is what I want to really drill home with all of you, always produce content from what I call the PSP, the passenger side perspective, not the DSP. That's the driver side perspective. That is your egoic side. You don't want to post things because you want to talk about it. I want to talk about this. I'm going to post about that. No, you think about what those people need. You think about what they're struggling with most. You're thinking about what they need the most help with, or what do they need to be educated and informed on. And once you figure that out, you produce content about that. So lists, how-tos, 3 tips for this. It's all about educating and informing your audience to bring them closer to you instead of pushing them further away. And the more that you spend time on LinkedIn pitching and selling and promoting and pitching and selling and promoting and pitching and selling and promoting, all you're doing is lessening the credibility that you have in your business, because you're just sliding into the same demographic that most people don't want to connect with on LinkedIn, which is someone that's trying to sell and pitch me on something they don't even think I need. So when you really take that perspective and that notion is, you know what, I'm going to double down on my content creation to create things where I build that know, like, and trust factor. No one buys anything from anyone that they don't know, they don't like, and they don't trust.
So let me ask you a question. Excellent content. The comments are burning up. If you are loving this, can you please share a like, a heart, or a comment and what you're loving specifically? Because that's really, really helpful as I curate amazing guests to try to attempt to match the quality that's being dropped right here by Scott Aaron. So here's the question I have. We all have a meter that goes off when we see something and we go, ick. Mm-hmm. Are there 5 things that we should never, ever do ever again so that we can escape the ick factor and connect more potently when we are on LinkedIn?
Well, it's also called the smell test. If it stinks, don't do it.
Okay, well, bring it on.
So
because we're all going to find ourselves in this moment of shame or blame or disbelief that I can't believe that I am guilty of having done that. Well, and when you know better, you do better, right?
We've all done it. I mean, everything that I'm educating you guys on is things that I had to learn on my own, what you should and shouldn't do. I've gotten blocked on LinkedIn in the past because I didn't know certain things. Now, I wouldn't say it's like 5 specific things, but here's what I can generally say. And it'll probably fit into so many different categories. So from the perspective of sending a message, before you click that send button, read that message and pretend like it's being sent to you. And ask yourself, would I respond to this? And if you yourself, the creator of that message, wouldn't respond to it yourself, what makes you think someone that you don't know that you're sending to would? So again, always put yourself in the position of you being the end user. You're your own ideal client. You're the person looking back at you in the mirror. How would you respond if someone sent you that message? And it will help you really bring out your true voice. People can hear and feel you in written word more than you realize. The other thing is when you produce content, again, put yourself into the mind's eye of that person that's scrolling through their LinkedIn feed and they stumble upon your content. How is it going to fall on them? Is it an educational and informative type post where they're going to stop their scroll and they're actually going to read and engage with it? Or are they going to roll right past it? So none of it is about us. All of it is about everybody else. Now, we live in this instant gratification world right now. We want things to happen right now. I want 6 figures in my business tomorrow. I want 7 figures in my business next week. And I want to be an 8-figure earner by the end of the year. Listen, I don't want to burst your bubble, and I'm not going to try to tell you that it's not possible, but you'll have a better opportunity going to the local gas station and getting some lottery scratch offs and winning that way than doing it that way on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, you want to treat like a 401k or an IRA. It's your compounded interest retirement fund. You have to make those daily deposits every single day. Incrementally over time, you will see your wealth grow. Nancy and I didn't go from 0 to a multiple 7 figures overnight. It took us 3.5 years, and it was a slow build. But once you have your foothold on the platform and you have a system in place, which is what we teach, it's rinse, wash, and repeat. Now, here's the other thing I want to tell you. Why try to reinvent the wheel when someone has already invented it for you? Why do you think there's certain companies that corner the marketplace? How many phones are there really? There's 2. There's Androids and iPhones. That's it. So think about when you're about to do something. If you leave an ingredient out, the cake will never rise. But if you follow everything that I've said today, or do most of it, or just some of it, you're going to see a result.
Well, amen. I feel like we're worshiping at the church of Scott Aaron today, getting the religion that we need. And I'm pretty confident that the people who are watching are thinking to themselves that this was the best way for them to spend this time together. But isn't there more to do? You've got something coming up, and I would love for you to tell us about it and how our listeners and viewers can take advantage of it, and that they should run and not walk to go do that.
Yeah, so thank you for that. My wife and I are hosting our final free 5-day LinkedIn intensive of the year. This is our 4th one, and they're great. You know, we get 500-600 people that come out. We do it through private Zoom. Everyone gets a workbook, and we basically take you through the layers of much what I went over with you guys all today, but in a more streamlined and visible way. We do screen shares. We take you through some exercises. So we go over exactly how to optimize your profile, you know, really building out your ideal client network. We take you through some exercises, messaging. So you'll start getting leads and you'll start sending messages. You'll start booking calls during this intensive. It's from August 23rd. Ideal client network. We take you through.
Sorry about that. I was checking my.
That's okay. So you'll start getting leads.
What I was doing there, to be transparent, I know people were asking questions on my Facebook group about LinkedIn, and I wanted to look at them, and I hit the wrong button. So
that's okay, but we'll get to those too. Yeah, so it's from August 23rd to August 27th. It's Monday through Thursday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. EDT, and Friday is from 5 to 6 p.m. EDT. And we go over your network, optimizing your profile, building your network, messaging, content creation, and the 20-minute routine. The link, I know it's a weird link, but it's right there at the bottom of the page. I can also share it into the group after we pop off. I can drop the landing page in there for anyone to register. And it's a lot of fun. You get to see my wife and I train together. We're very different energy wise. I'm like the loud in your face one. Obviously you can tell. Nancy's kind of like the Mother Teresa angelic one that kind of just like is just a wealth of knowledge, but we definitely balance each other very, very well. And yeah, would love anyone and everyone to join. So it's 2 weeks from tonight, and would love to see you guys there.
Well, I will definitely repost that link within the chat so that people can easily click on it. Now, just to be clear, this is a high value and free workshop. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's not paid at all. It's completely free. And all you have to do, honestly, you know, there's so many people that register, and again, it's something of high value, but yeah, you have to come each night because there's an accountability assignment each night. So you're going to have like a little bit of homework, and we give a lot of prizes out during that week as well. So there's free giveaways, and we've had people close sales during our 5-day intensives. Like they've made money off of the free content that we share. So we just know that as we go into the fourth quarter, which can be a crazy part of the year for people. We wanted to at least leave people at the end of the summer going into the fall with a full head of steam of what they can do.
I think everyone who's watching is going to do themselves a huge favor to run and not walk to that link, and to not only register, but commit the time to be present for each of the sessions that builds on the one that came before. What if, painting the picture, you went every single day and came out with so much confidence, so much conviction, so much clarity around what kind of content you're going to deliver, how you're going to show up, so that your calendar can be fully booked with consultations, connect calls, and other ways to determine how you can support other people in business so that they can do the same for you. I can't think of anything really more important than that for people who are serious about going from wherever they are to 6 or 7 or 8 figures. And I hope that everyone who's here is going to do that. And so thank you so much for being so generous and offering that. Make an appointment and show up, because when you show up, that's when all the good stuff happens and you don't want to miss out. Now, one of our people wrote a question, Paulette, and she said that she has this one career that's a full-time job, and yet she also has this fast-growing online business that is in a completely different niche. Is there any advice you can offer about how she can use her LinkedIn profile to bridge both worlds and have both advance?
Yeah, so this is a very common question, because, you know, it really matters most is, A, does your company or your boss manage your account for you? So do they watch everything that you do? Do they see everything that you're posting? Or do you just work for a company and you're looking to leverage LinkedIn to share what it is that you do on the side without raising any red flags? The simple answer is, as long as you're not pitching or selling, but you're, again, staying in that realm of pure education and pure informational content, no one's ever going to know the difference of what you do. You know, I was doing multiple things when I was growing my business online. No one saw any disparity in anything that I was putting out, for the pure and simple fact is that everything that I was putting out was value added. So people really enjoyed it. So whether you have a full-time job and you're growing something on the side, what you're growing on the side is the content that you should be building around, where it's still not going to raise any red flags, because, again, the content that you're producing educates and informs. You're not selling and pitching, so you don't have to worry about raising any red flags or rubbing people the wrong way. So stay in that space of giving value, pouring into people, giving as much as you can without expecting anything back in return.
Love that. Now, since we've got a captive audience and there's an opportunity to have your questions answered, who's got another question for Scott?
I consult for retailers and they can all see, and I contact the main account to see my online biz. Yeah. So, I mean, if anybody does have any questions, just type them in live. I can totally get to them. And I also went into the group, everybody. I dropped the URL in the comment section. So all you have to do is go through the comments, click on the link. It takes you right to the landing page to sign up. It'll prompt you to join our free Facebook group, which we now almost have 3,000 people in there, which we're really excited about. And it's a great community. So
I want to say a couple more things about that are relevant to the questions that have come up before. If you want to leverage your business and touch and transform more lives, and you want to do it in a leveraged way, you need to be in groups where people are aligned in that similar goal. When someone says, I've got over 3,000 people in my Facebook group who are serious about getting better at LinkedIn, you have to ask yourself, do I want to take a front row seat and be in that group where people are moving and shaking and making things happen? Because not only will you learn at the feet of Scott Aaron, the LinkedIn expert, but what connections and expressions of support can be extended while you are a member of that group. So powerful. We none of this build our businesses by ourselves. We are all having to be strategic and focused about where we hang out on any of these platforms, which brings me to something I want to call out. LinkedIn is where it's at, but you have a Facebook group where all this action happens. Talk to people about how, I mean, if you would be willing to share a little bit about the fact that you've got this awesome, robust Facebook group that is not happening on LinkedIn. How does that work for you and how does that pay off? I think people would be really interested to know that.
Yeah, I mean, it's great because we wanted to create a safe place for people, not just on Facebook, but we're on LinkedIn, but still wanted to connect with us on a professional level, and not feel bombarded or spammed. They feel educated, and we have no problem. We have no problem getting people off of LinkedIn into our Facebook group. And remember, you know, I still do 2 free trainings a week in this LinkedIn group that we have. I'm all about educating and informing and building that know, like, and trust, because that's how you create those tribe of buyers that whatever you put out, they're going to eat up, because they know it's going to be high value, because the free content is so good. Imagine if people make an investment, what happens? So that's why it's so important to not only create a safe place for people, not just within your connection list on LinkedIn, but get them to funnel into somewhere, whether it's a Facebook group or an email list or both. And honestly, email lists are, I would say, one of the most valuable things that we all have right now, because, you know, Kelly Roach, who's a mutual connection of ours, Nancy, always talks about that social media is rented land. And, you know, if Facebook shuts down, if Instagram shuts down, if LinkedIn shuts down, how are you going to connect with your audience? So find a way not only to create a safe place for people within a Facebook group, but find a way to get them from online to offline into an email list where they can be nurtured. And someone said, you know, can you sell a book through LinkedIn? Absolutely. I sell mine all the time on LinkedIn. And there's
Tell us about your book.
So I have a couple books out there. One is called The LinkedIn Book for Network Marketing. So it's not just for network marketers. It's for anyone it's actually right here. I actually just redid the cover. So there's an updated cover for this. But if you just go onto Amazon and just type in The LinkedIn Book for Network Marketing, you'll see the paperback. It's also available on Kindle. Then I have a compatible workbook that goes along with that called the Marketing Workbook for LinkedIn. So it's kind of like a handbook that extracts all the important things from the first book. And, you know, those were 2 of my 3 bestsellers on Amazon. So
what would you say to people that, I mean, I just want to call this out as well, as long as we're talking about it.
Yeah.
You know, some people say that your book is a big business card that helps catapult your expertise to a higher level, so people do business with you in a deeper, more high value way. Care to comment on that?
100%. I mean, I get business all the time from my book, because in chapter 2 of this, where I go over optimizing your profile, there's a call to action at the end of the chapter. If you want to learn how to optimize your profile, head over to scottaaron.net, where you can download your free infograph. When they go to download the free infograph, there's an option to schedule a call with me. So I get consult calls all the time.
So slow that down for just a second, because I know time is short, but that was so good. I want to unpack that for just a minute. You've got this book. It's really great content, but there's a call to action in the end of the book that says, go here and get this thing. There was an instant gratification tool that you made available that was so compelling that the person who just read your book was so sold on how awesome you were, they could not stop themselves from giving you their name and their email address so they could have it. Instant gratification. They don't have to read 27 pages of something. They get something instantaneous that's going to help them solve a problem. But then you follow up right away with, should we get on the phone? Anyone out there who doesn't have enough calls on the calendar needs to re-listen to this portion of this interview and go, oh, I finally got the aha that I was looking for, because you went so fast, but there was so much gold in that.
So this is page 26 of my book. My book is 100 pages, page 26, bonus. As a free gift from me to you, please go to www.scottaaron.net and claim your free infographic about the best way to set up your profile on LinkedIn so you can get started quickly and easily. So that's 20. That's at the end of chapter 2.
Well, and
So,
I also want to say, sorry to like riff on this, how you can get started quickly and easily. Because sometimes people say, well, if you fill out my form and it will take about 20 minutes and you're going to need to get some references and you're going to need to do this and you're going to do that, you're thinking, oh my gosh. But you're saying, no, go here and it'll be quick and easy and productive. How can you make your thing fast, easy, quick, productive, fun, fabulous, worth doing, wish you had done it yesterday? Find those kind of words. And then not only will you have an opt-in gift, but you'll have an opt-in gift that converts so that you can own that connection and have the ability to push information out to those people at will, because you're not stuck on a platform that you don't control.
exactly.
So many value bombs today. Oh my goodness. But the number one thing I want everyone to do, follow the link that you see on the bottom of the screen. There's also a link posted in the chat. I would expect that every single person who is here today or who listens on the replay is going to run and not walk to block their calendar to be there for your 5-day LinkedIn intensive. And I want to hear about the successes that unfold for you as a direct result of me having been smart enough to bring to you this amazing expert for today's Learn More to Earn More. If you have loved this call, please post some love in the chat. If there's a question that you have that you are bringing to us because you were enjoying the replay, put hashtag replay in the comments and post your question. Scott is a member of this group, and he will likely circle back and answer your question, provided you tag him. And for those of you who are not familiar with tagging, that means you put @ScottAaron in the chat so that it'll illuminate, and he will be alerted that somebody has a burning question that only he can answer in his brilliant way. Any parting thoughts before we close up this session, Scott?
Well, Nancy, I just want to thank you again for the opportunity. And I do appreciate everybody that has spent some time with us over this last hour. I always appreciate when people give the most valuable thing they can give to someone else, which is their own time. And, taking that 60 minutes out of your day to spend it with us, where you could be anywhere else right now, but you're choosing to be here. That means so much. And, final parting thoughts, I would keep it very simple. And this is something it's in my book. It's on my website. It's one of my key phrases, is that your failures always open the doors to your successes. So the more often that you are openly and willingly wanting to fail, the more openly and willingly you are open to succeeding. So without success, you must fail first. So keep failing forward, and you're going to achieve everything that you want to.
Well, very, very good. Well, I am so honored that you, Scott, would invest your valuable time in speaking to my Learn More, Earn More community, my Raise Your Voice, Make Your Impact group. If you are not yet a member of the Raise Your Voice, Make Your Impact Facebook group, this is the kind of content you can expect every Monday. I bring world-class experts direct to you so that you can interact with them and raise your game. If you're not yet a member, go to getknowngetpaid.com/group. Answer the 3 questions to let me know that this is the right group for you, and I will see you on the other side. And with that, I say thank you so much, Scott. Thank you, Paulette, Kate, Tara, and everyone else who's joined us live. I know you got a treat. Do me a favor, do both of us a favor, and tell 5 of your friends to come back into this group and benefit from what we talked about today, because this is go to the bank with a smile content that will serve you and your friends very well. Why not share that? Show that support for me and what it is that I'm doing here. And I know the support will come back to you in ways you have no idea how good they could be. So that, my friends, wraps up another edition of the Learn More to Earn More show. We will see you here next week, and I can't wait. Thank you so much.